Maybe you've noticed this. It starts the same way almost every night. Phone lights up, a quick check of notifications, a headline flashes. One scroll turns into 10. Some people find themselves glued to the screen after midnight, not because there's nothing else to do, but because something about the stream feels necessary. The feed offers motion. It offers connection without conversation. It offers outrage, explanation, distraction. But here's what's interesting. Doom scrolling doesn't feel like a habit at first. It feels like a small rescue, a little flood of information that keeps the silence at bay. There's no grand intention, only momentum. There's nothing wrong with feeling this way. Many people experience this, especially in a world that never sleeps, never quits, never unsubscribes. This isn't a moral failing, it's a response. It's how some people cope when the day tightens its grip. Psychologists suggest that our emotional systems are very old, and social input is one of their primary regulators. Research shows that some people find social cues, even digital ones, intensely salient. Emotions arrive before explanations. A headline can feel like an alarm. A message can feel like company. At first glance, doom scrolling looks like curiosity, but often it's something else. It's nervous system work dressed as browsing. Early experiences matter too. For some, unpredictability in childhood taught vigilance. For others, loneliness created a habit of checking for signs that someone else is there. Experience leads to coping. Coping becomes pattern. Pattern shapes personality. And this is where it gets interesting. What starts as a practical way to reduce anxiety can become a default mode.
So the pattern looks like this: stressful moment, phone checks, quick emotional reward, repeat. Most people don't think about this part. They assume they are simply keeping up, but the truth is more subtle. Often, doom scrolling functions as emotional regulation. It helps some people hold themselves together, which raises a question. Why do some people do it every night, while others can close the phone and sleep? Psychologists suggest differences in sensitivity and in how people learn to soothe themselves. Research shows that some people are more responsive to unpredictable signals of social presence, and this responsiveness can feel like a double-edged sword. It brings deep awareness to threats and to connections. At the same time, it primes a person to chase the next update. There's also habit.
The brain remembers relief. A small, soothing dopamine hit after checking a message becomes a learned shortcut. So when stress returns, the shortcut activates again. It becomes automatic. There's a social angle, too. The algorithms notice attention. They feed it back. More attention, more of the same. That steady feedback loop keeps people on the feed longer. And the longer you stay, the more likely you are to find something that spikes emotion. A story, a scandal, a joke, a confession. All of that creates an emotional rhythm, a rhythm that's easy to mistake for vigilance or curiosity. But here's the reframe. What looks like weakness often comes from sensitivity. What looks like an inability to disconnect often comes from an acute tuning to social information. People who doom scroll are often people who notice more. They tend to be more attuned to the moods of others. They absorb the emotional temperature of a room, even a virtual one. That sensitivity can be a burden in a fast, loud world, but it is also a talent. It allows for richer empathy, deeper curiosity, a capacity to feel complexity. If the emotion that nudges someone towards scrolling is strong, that same emotion can fuel meaningful things. The energy can go into creativity. Late-night reflection sometimes becomes writing, thinking, composing. The attention that lingers on headlines can be shifted toward caring conversations. The restlessness can become research, art, long walks, or thoughtful projects. It can shape relationships. Conversations that start with a headline can lead to honesty, to new mutual understandings. Quiet moments, once filled with scrolling, can become chances for interior work, and this is where it becomes liberating, not by shaming the behavior, but by noticing the undercurrent, by recognizing what the scrolling was doing, by gently redirecting that motion. Meaning sits under the motion. Some people chase stimulation, images, rush, novelty. Others chase resonance, depth, clarity, context. Both are human. The feed is fireworks, bright, loud, ephemeral. Presence is candlelight, small, warm, lasting. Neither is intrinsically better. One simply fits different temperaments and different seasons of life. For those who doomscroll, the path forward is rarely about strict elimination. It rarely works to declare war on the phone and expect peace overnight. Instead, small experiments help. A short rule, no phones in bed for 1 week. A new evening ritual, 15 minutes of journaling before opening the screen. A soft substitution, reading a physical article or a quiet podcast instead of an endless feed. Or a tiny pause, breathe for 30 seconds before opening the app. Shifts like these aren't moral victories, they are practical rewiring. They create new muscle, and they open space for different uses of attention. There are also communal moves. Talking with a friend about late-night scrolling, setting up a mutual lights-out time, creating a real signal of end of day with another person. That social anchor can be surprisingly powerful. Then, there's the morning side of doomscrolling. The receipts of late-night feeds arrive in the morning. A foggy start, sleep that feels thin, decisions that seem harder. Decision fatigue stacks up. The small emotional spikes at night bleed into less capacity the next day. Work feels heavier. Patience runs short. Relationships feel more brittle. And the irony is cruel. The thing that felt like rescue at 1 a.m. is sometimes the very thing that frays the next day. Knowing that changes the moral equation. It's no longer about blame, it's about cause and effect. If the night scrolling takes energy, then the gentle experiment becomes an investment, not a punishment. Practical ideas that sometimes help. Set an alarm. Stop scrolling at 11 p.m. Replace one evening scroll session with a 15-minute walk. Keep a notebook by the bed for late thoughts so the mind has an outlet. Try a 1-week digital sunset where screens are off after a certain hour. Use a simple app limiter that blocks the most tempting apps at night. These are small tests, not rules for life. If they work, they invite more curiosity. If they don't, they teach one thing: what doesn't help. And this is where it gets interesting. The skills gained by resisting a habit are not moral points. They are new capacities. They teach patience. They teach tolerance for quiet. They teach how to find company inside rather than always outside. For some people, the quieter nights lead to deeper projects. For others, they lead to kinder mornings. Either way, the practice of noticing changes what the night does to you. Most people don't think about this part. They treat the feed as neutral, but it's an active force, a shapeshifter. It can be ally or opponent depending on how it's used. One small experiment people often overlook: ask before opening the app, what am I actually looking for? Company? News? A distraction? Naming the need changes the action. If it's company, call someone. If it's news, pick one trusted source and close the tab. If it's distraction, try a short physical task. Wash the dishes, stretch, make tea. Create a short evening list of what matters: connection, rest, a creative act, a quiet read. Keep it visible. When the feed pulls, scan the list, ask, does this support tonight? That tiny interruption can break the loop. Reframe boredom as a door. Give it a few minutes. New ideas often arrive there. Doomscrolling shuts the door. Remember, the feed is highlights, not the whole life. Psychologists suggest that curated images intensify comparison. Research shows that for some people, constant comparison increases feelings of lack. Noticing the edit, that feeds show fragments, softens the pull. Also, try small rituals, a 5-minute breathing exercise before bed, a handwritten note, a single photo that makes you breathe, or a simple playlist that signals downtime. These are not rules, they are experiments. They teach patience, tolerance for quiet, and how to find company inside rather than always outside. Try one experiment for a week and notice how your nights and mornings begin to change. If any of this resonated with you, take one small step tonight. There's no rush, there's also no shame. Curiosity beats judgment. Hit subscribe if you'd like more gentle experiments for modern attention. Click it to support thoughtful, slow videos. Thanks for listening.